Wow, look at this, guys. Look how far we've come from hand holding the microphone like a twat to now purchasing a stand for €30 so I can just have it here. 10 years in, and and hopefully in this way I'll have even sound. 10 years in, I do feel like I can tell a story, but I've always consistently undervalued production value, quality of sound and image. So I think, who gives a shit? Like, it's what you're saying, not the quality at which it comes to your ears. But it's not true, because even me, when I pass those Christian preachers on Henry Street, I think I'm all for preaching the word of God in public. Fucking hell, God knows we need it. But audio peaking, I just want to say to them, God wants you to have a good microphone. Save up for a good microphone. And then go ahead. Hello, everybody, and welcome to News of the Week. Lots going on since I last uploaded, which was 11 or 12 days ago. The personal part of the show, I applied for a mortgage. Rejected. Because the banks discriminate against people who are legendary. You make a bit of money doing a bit of this, bit of that, a bit of this and a bit of that. And two of my surnames that I come from, we all come from four surnames. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we get one of them, grandparents, yeah? 2 out of 4 are surnames typically associated with the traveller community. Maybe that explains why I make a living in a way that's a little bit unorthodox. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. The banks discriminate against guys who don't want to be tied down by the system, man. I don't mind working hard. My favourite ever job was delivering pizzas for Domino's. Women love you when you deliver pizzas for Domino's. They find it sexy. A man doing a job that is kind of hard work. He's out there in the elements. There's also a porno association with calling to the door. Oh, how do you want to pay, cash or card? It's implied that there's a third option. The one thing I can't abide is listening to Susan's story about her son's taekwondo lessons again at the water cooler. That makes me want to contribute to the male suicide statistics. Okay, that makes me want to, So I kind of am getting rejected in the process. Stay calm. You never know what's going to happen in life. You never know how it's all going to go. The second bit of news is Joey Barton is just freaking out online. Well, I made a video in Jan. The video is titled this: Joey Barton nukes wokeness in football. And I think I kind of gave a favourable account of Joey Barton's nuking of wokeness in football. But now, this week, I should be making a video called Jeremy Pine nukes Joey Barton in court. Joey Barton comes out with a pathetic tweet apologising for calling Jeremy Pine a nonce. Between the 8th and 12th of January 2024, I published 11 posts which accused Jeremy Pine of having a sexual interest in children, and created a hashtag which made the same allegations, which were viewed millions of times. I recognise that this is a very serious allegation. It's untrue. I do not believe that Jeremy Pine has a sexual interest in children, and I wish to set the record straight. Now, in Western academia, paedophilia is starting to receive a rebrand. I'm not going to say this is offensive against paedophiles, but there is in radical circles this sort of rebranding of paedophilia. They're now called minor attracted people. And there's this kind of idea, I think, that we shouldn't be demonizing them. We should be seeking to understand, To resolve his claims against me in defamation and harassment, I've agreed to pay Mr. Pine £75,000 in damages and his legal costs. He's added sort of inverted commas on either end, I think, to kind of subtly distance himself from the thing, to imply this has been written for me. That ain't working. I mean, if the agreement was 75,000 and a fucking apology tweet, I would have said, like, okay, make it 100,000 and no apology tweet, and make it then 125,000, no apology tweet, and an NDA, and let's forget this ever happened. Because Joey Barton had a fucking fundraiser for his legal bills. He had a GoFundMe. So he's probably made a fucking profit on this. There's kind of a question to be asked about people who get too involved in this anti-woke crap, having come from a different world. J.K. Rowling, way too involved. The guy who wrote Father Ted, a bit too involved. The guy from Mumford & Sons who plays the banjo, too involved. Let's watch Douglas Murray's views on Israel-Palestine.
And there is no law of war that says you're allowed to start a war and then complain when you lose it.
So the people who fight for civil rights and who are really at the helm of these big movements, they are having so much fun. That's why I don't trust them. It becomes their job. They get paid off of it. They get famous off of it. They, more importantly than anything, feel good off of it. It's like whatever the side is, you can't trust them anymore. Luke O'Neill had the exact same feeling during COVID. He was the hot girl at school finally. COVID was the best thing that ever happened to that guy.
Gideon says Israel needs nothing more than criticism. As if Israel doesn't get criticism. Wow, he doesn't even read his own country's press.
It's almost like he's playing a role here of like an old British Tory or something from like the 60s, when it was much more rambunctious and there was less women. Anyway, the point being is that there's something about that style of British accent that haunts my soul as an Irish person. My answers are within me, and they're hearing Douglas Murray speak, just his accent, nice fella, I'm sure, and going, run away, they're coming. So there was this racist moment in Irish news this week where this black girl was kind of caught like not singing the national anthem. Now I think the white guy behind her wasn't singing it as well, but a lot of people got pissed off. And it's like, oh, you shouldn't get pissed off at that. Like, she might have just been standing there, And I mean, really, what did we miss out on? Sé de fina fall, a tá finale nerin. Nobody knows the fucking words to the thing anyway, but her name is Razidat Adeleki, and she won the mixed 4x400 relay gold. I really thought racism was over in like 2005. The first time I heard of racism, I was 14, and I thought, oh, I'm the first year that racism is in the past. That was kind of the framing of it in 2005. And it was when I was reading To Kill a Mockingbird in class, and I just kind of looked around. Everybody's on the side of Atticus Finch here. Nobody's on the side of Bob Ewell. Right, guys? Right. And that was kind of it. Now, I will say that everybody in that class said the N-word. Everybody. When we were reading out, we went around, we were reading out one line at a time. I don't think there was any black person in that class, and everybody said the N-word. There was no... there's none of that going on, none of that TikTok shit going on. But really what I think she's on trial for, this lovely lady, she's on trial on social media for having a snooty attitude. That is the accusation that's been levelled at her. Let's consider the context. On Twitter today, I saw a clip from an American TV show.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's okay. He feels threatened on a daily basis. Like everything he's earned can just be taken away. He's disenfranchised. But because his life is seemingly free from all this, because he can't name it, he's internalizing it.
Name what?
Racism. I think your son's tumor was caused by racism.
This TV show is based in a hospital. The patient in the scene has racism-induced cancer. But basically, this type of crap, number one, is a load of crap designed to divide us as people. It is this like really racialized propaganda crazy shit. And so I guess people online, in their defense, were kind of saying that like, oh, this girl is making a point about not singing the national anthem. In the same way that like James McLean refuses to wear the poppy when he's playing for his English club and they're commemorating World War One soldiers or whatever. James McLean's from Northern Ireland. He's not representing England. He has some anti-monarchy sentiment, I assume. You can't really represent Ireland and feel like Ireland is the worst place ever and racism abounds. But she probably wasn't doing that. It's called the benefit of the doubt. Taoiseach Simon Harris has urged Class Razadat Aleki to not let online cowards affect her. The mum gets involved, her ma gets involved. It's too much for her. She's just a little girl. I don't know. It's not good for her. It's really awful. I'm going to proceed to totally miss the point here of the story. This is just kind of a side note. I don't like when parents call their kids like little girls when they're 21-year-old adults, you know. I don't like when parents infantilize their kids forever. Mothers, like, naturally aren't incentivized to let their kids grow up. And so that's why you see this mad shit online of like 7-year-olds breastfeeding and 14-year-olds sleeping in the bed with the man and 21-year-olds not moving out of the gaff. You always see these mad fucking women on TikTok going like, oh yes, my son slept with me until he was 14. He's perfectly well adjusted now. He obviously has no friends or anything, but that's genetics. And they all age at their own pace and every child is different. And there's always this one mad bitch in the comments going, yes, they don't understand. All children are different and mums know best. If you're letting your fucking kid lie in the bed with you till he's 14, you're waiting for him to drop the hand. I'm sorry. And when I was in college studying fucking Freud, all the fucking female professors were like, oh yeah, the three greatest minds of the 20th century. Freud, Nietzsche, Marx. But Freud, I mean, the guy was a fucking genius and he changed psychology and everything we know about psychology is based on him and he's the godfather of psychology. Wrong about everything. I mean, the Oedipus complex couldn't possibly be true. When we infantilize our youth, when we don't let them grow up, we're being selfish. And we're being selfish to our kids, rob them of their confidence, and we're being selfish from the world to the world because these babies today, tomorrow, are needed to lead the world. This lady, Ada Kelly, is, a complete success. Top of her field, dealing with an enormous amount of pressure, competing in a high pressure thing. That ain't a little girl. That's a woman. She could be drafted to the war. She could have a child. She could do many things. Little girls have pigtails, they ride little bikes, they fall over and they ask annoying questions. Please. Okay.
Hooray!